Jin-Ah Song stood at the back of the line of new cadets. She was the smallest one there. Next to the tall aliens from other worlds, she looked like a child. The morning sun of planet Nexus made her squint as she waited for her turn to enter the Galactic Defense Academy. "Name and planet of origin," said the board officer at the check-in desk. His 4 eyes barely looked up from his screen. "Jin-Ah Song." "Earth," she said softly. The officer's upper eyes rolled. "Another human. Stand over there with the rest of your kind." Jin-Ah nodded and walked to where 5 other humans waited. They all wore the same gray-kitted uniforms, but even among them, she was small. "They let you in?" asked a tall human boy with broad shoulders. "I'm Hyun. You look like you'd break in a light breeze." Jin-Ah just smiled. She was used to this. All her life, people had underestimated her. At 22 years old and barely 5 feet tall, she knew what others saw: a weak girl who didn't belong in combat training. What they couldn't see was her past. Growing up with her grandmother, a master of ancient Korean martial arts, and her grandfather, who had studied every fighting style known to humanity. They had taught her since she could walk, not just how to fight, but how to understand the art of combat itself. "First-year cadets, follow me." A blue-skinned alien with tentacles where arms should be moved through the crowd. "I am Senior Officer Krav. You will address me as Sir. Earth humans, try to keep up. Your kind is not known for strength or speed." The group followed Krav into a massive building. Jin-Ah stayed silent, watching everything. She counted 14 different alien species among the 60 new cadets. The Morvans towered over everyone, their stone-like skin reflecting the light. The quick Alari moved with such grace, they seemed to float rather than walk. They entered a large training hall with high ceilings and floors made of some strange material that felt slightly soft under Jin-Ah's boots. "This is where you will learn if you have what it takes to defend the galaxy," said Krav, "or if you should have stayed home. We begin with physical assessment." Jin-Ah watched as cadets were called up one by one. A Morvan lifted a weight that looked heavier than a car, and Alari ran faster than Jin-Ah's eyes could follow. A Nuvian moved through an obstacle course with perfect precision, never wasting a single motion. Then it was the human's turn. Hyun did well, lifting more than expected for a human. 2 others failed badly. When Jin-Ah's name was called, she heard snickers from some of the alien cadets. "Song. Basic combat stance," ordered Krav. Jin-Ah moved to the center of the training floor. She took a simple stance, feet shoulder-width apart, hands loose at her sides. She looked relaxed, almost casual. Krav frowned. "I said combat stance, human." "This is my stance, sir," Jin-Ah replied quietly. A large Drakon cadet with scales and sharp teeth laughed loudly. "Is this a joke? She looks like she's waiting for a bus, not preparing to fight." Krav sighed. "Fine. Let's see what you've got. Defend yourself." Without warning, he pressed a button. A training drone zoomed toward Jin-Ah from behind. Most new cadets would have been knocked down instantly. Jin-Ah didn't even turn around. She shifted her weight slightly, tilted her head as if listening, then moved. Just 2 inches to the left. The drone missed her completely, its momentum carrying it forward until it crashed into the floor. The room went silent. "Lucky," someone whispered. Krav narrowed his 4 eyes. Again. 2 drones came this time, from different directions. Jin-Ah's movements were small but perfect. She seemed to know exactly where to be to avoid being hit. When one drone came too close, her hand shot out. Not in a fist, but with open fingers, touching a spot that made the drone short-circuit and drop. Han's mouth fell open. The Drakon stopped laughing. Krav stared at Jin-Ah, then at his control pad, then back at her. "Interesting," he said finally. "Very interesting." A week passed at the Galactic Defense Academy. Jin-Ah kept to herself during training. She did only what was asked, never showing off. But the other cadets watched her now. They weren't sure what to make of her. Hyun caught up with her in the food hall. "Hey, Jinna, sit with us." He pointed to a table where the other human cadets sat. Jinna nodded and joined them with her tray of food. "How did you do that thing with the drones?" asked Sujai, a girl with short black hair. "They're programmed to hit new cadets. No one avoids them on the first day." Jinna took a small bite of her food before answering. "I listened to the sound of their engines. They make a certain noise right before they change direction." "But you didn't even look at them," said Hyun. Jinna just shrugged. She didn't like explaining herself. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the academy. Red lights flashed on the walls. "This is not a drill," boomed a voice over the speakers. "The academy is under attack. All cadets report to safety zones. All combat-ready personnel to defense stations." Chaos erupted in the food hall. Cadets jumped up, knocking over trays and chairs. Senior officers rushed in, trying to create order. "What's happening?" Suji asked, her voice shaking. "Drakon raiders," said an older cadet running past their table. "They've breached the east wing." Hyun stood up. "We need to get to the safety zone in the basement." Before they could move, a massive explosion rocked the building. The lights went out. When the emergency lights came on, parts of the ceiling had collapsed, blocking the main exit. "This way," called Jinna. She led the human cadets toward a side door. Just as they reached it, the door burst open. 3 Drakon warriors stood there. They were not like the Drakon cadets. These were full-grown warriors with battle scars and heavy armor. Each was 7 feet tall with scaled skin, sharp teeth, and eyes that glowed yellow in the dim light. They carried plasma weapons and looked ready to kill. The lead Drakon smiled, showing rows of pointed teeth. "Human cadets. Easy targets." The human cadets froze in fear. Even Hyun, the strongest among them, stepped back. But Jinna stepped forward. "Get behind me," she said quietly to the others. The lead Drakon laughed. "Look at this. The smallest one thinks she can fight us." He put down his weapon. "I won't even need this for you." Jinna's eyes narrowed slightly. She studied the Drakon's stance, the way he balanced his weight, the thickness of his scales at different points on his body. The Drakon lunged at her with surprising speed. His clawed hand aimed straight for her throat. Jinna didn't try to match his strength. That would be foolish. Instead, she moved like water, redirecting his force. Her small hand found a point between the scales on his wrist. She pressed hard. The Drakon's hand went numb. He roared in anger and swung with his other arm. Jinna ducked under it and struck again, this time at a spot behind his knee where the scales were thinner. The giant Drakon crashed to the floor. The other 2 Drakons charged at once. Jinna moved between them. Her movements looked like a dance, fluid and precise. She never hit hard, but each touch found a weak spot. One Drakon fell, unable to move his legs. The other clutched his throat, gasping for air after Jinna struck a pressure point. In less than a minute, all 3 raiders were on the ground. The human cadets stared in shock. "How did you?" Hyun couldn't finish his question. "Hapkido," said Jinna, "modified for Drakon physiology." She looked at the fallen raiders with calm eyes. Their scales have gaps at the joints. Their nervous system is similar to ours, just in different places. She spoke as if explaining a simple math problem. A slow clap came from the doorway. Commander Do-Yun Park stood there, watching. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes were fixed on Jinna. "Interesting," he said. "Very interesting indeed." The day after the Drakon attack, everyone at the academy was talking about Jinna. Word spread fast about how the small human girl had taken down 3 Drakon warriors. "Is it true?" asked an Alari cadet, his thin blue face full of doubt. "You defeated 3 Drakons without weapons." Jinna kept walking, eyes forward. She didn't like the attention. Later that morning, a message came on her datapad. "Report to Commander Park. Training Room 7. Immediately. When Jinnah arrived, Commander Park was not alone. With him stood a tall, thin alien with pale skin that seemed to glow. This was Kirith, the Academy's top combat instructor and an Alari master. "Song," said Commander Park. "Show Instructor Kirith what you did yesterday." Jinnah looked at them. "I need an opponent." "You have one." Park pressed a button on his wrist device. A door opened, and a training drone shaped like a drakon entered the room. It was bigger and more advanced than the simple drones from her first day. Jinnah studied the drone. It moved differently than a real drakon. Its steps were too perfect, too measured. "Begin," ordered Park. The drone attacked. It was fast, but Jinnah was ready. She moved like she had against the real drakons, aiming for weak points. But this time, her fingers found only hard metal where soft spots should be. The drone caught her arm. Jinnah winced in pain. "Stop thinking of it as a drakon," said Kirith suddenly. "It is a machine." Jinnah nodded. She changed her approach. Now she looked for joints in the metal, for wires, for sensors. Her next moves targeted these areas. Within minutes, the drone stood frozen, its systems confused by Jinnah's precise strikes to its sensor array. Kirith's eyes widened. "Fascinating. You adapted mid-fight." Commander Park stepped forward. "Song, I'm assigning you to special training. You will work with Cadet Taho Kim." "Sir?" Jinnah was confused. "Kim is our best strategist. Smart, but physically average. You are something else." Park looked at her with new respect. "Together, you might be valuable." After they left, Jinnah found Taho Kim waiting outside. He was tall for a human, with serious eyes and a thoughtful face. "So you're the girl everyone's talking about," he said. His voice was calm and measured. "They say you know all fighting styles." "Not all," said Jinnah. "Just many. I saw the security footage of you against the drakons." Taho studied her face. "You didn't just fight them. You knew exactly where to strike." "How?" Jinnah hesitated. She didn't usually share her methods, but something about Taho's direct manner made her decide to trust him. "I studied drakon anatomy last year," she said. "Their weak points, pressure points, joint structure. I study all species this way." Taho raised an eyebrow. "All species? Why?" "To understand. To be ready." She looked away. "My grandparents taught me that knowledge is better than strength." Their conversation was interrupted by a group of Morven cadets approaching. The leader, a huge cadet named Grask, looked down at Jinnah. "You, small human. I heard stories." His voice rumbled like stones rolling downhill. "They say you have special fighting magic. I do not believe it." Taho stepped forward. "Leave her alone, Grask." "No." Jinnah put a hand on Taho's arm. "It's okay." She looked up at the Morven, whose stone-like skin made him look like a walking mountain. "I don't have magic. Just knowledge." Grask laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. "Knowledge cannot defeat strength. Prove your worth in the training circle." Jinnah nodded. "If you wish." As they walked toward the training area, Taho whispered, "Are you crazy? Morvens are 3 times stronger than humans. Their skin is like armor." Jinnah smiled slightly. "Strength isn't everything. And even stone has cracks." News of the challenge spread quickly. By the time they reached the training circle, cadets from all species had gathered to watch. Even some instructors stood at the back of the crowd. Kirith watched from the doorway, his glowing eyes fixed on Jinnah. "This," he said quietly to Commander Park, "will be most enlightening." The training circle was packed with cadets eager to see Jinnah face Grask, the massive Morven. The stone-skinned alien stood in the center, muscles like boulders under his gray hide. Jinnah stepped into the circle calmly. She looked tiny next to him. "Begin," called the supervising officer. Grask charged like a bull, the floor shaking with each step. Jinnah waited until the last second, then moved. Not away, but toward him, sliding past his reach. Her hand brushed against a spot where his arm met his shoulder. Grask turned, confused. He swung a heavy fist. Again, Jinnah moved just enough to avoid it, this time touching a point on his back. "Fight me," roared the Morven. "I am," said Jinnah softly. Grask charged again, this time when Jinnah touched him. At the base of his neck, his right arm went limp. "What?" Grask looked at his useless arm in shock. Jinnah circled him, her movements fluid like water. Each time Grask attacked, she found another pressure point. Soon, the mighty Morven could barely move. He hadn't landed a single blow. "I yield," Grask finally said, his voice a mix of shock and respect. The room was silent. Then Tahoe started clapping. Others joined in. Commander Park ended the impromptu match. "Enough. All cadets, return to your scheduled training." As the crowd broke up, Tahoe approached Jinnah. "That was amazing. You have to show me how you did that." Jinnah nodded. "Come to my quarters after dinner." That evening, Tahoe knocked on Jinnah's door. When he entered, he stopped in surprise. The small room was normal except for one wall, which displayed a huge digital screen filled with diagrams of different alien species. "Welcome to my library," said Jinnah. Tahoe stared at the screen. "What is all this?" Jinnah touched the screen, and it changed to show detailed images of Morven anatomy. "Every species has strengths and weaknesses. I study them all." She swiped again, and the screen showed hundreds of small videos, humans performing different fighting moves. "These are the combat styles of Earth," she explained. "Boxing, karate, judo, kung fu, krav maga, capoeira. Over 100 different ways humans learn to fight." Tahoe's eyes widened. "You know all these." "My grandmother taught me many. Others I learned from old videos and books." Jinnah touched the screen again. "But the real secret is this." The screen split to show a human doing a fighting move on one side and an alien body on the other, with lines connecting specific points. "I adapt each technique for different bodies. What works on a human might not work on a Drakon or Morven." Tahoe sat down, amazed. "This is why you beat Grask. You knew exactly where his nerve points were." Jinnah nodded. "Morvens are strong, but the places where their rocky plates connect are sensitive. I just needed to find the right spots." "This is incredible," said Tahoe. "But why did you learn all this?" Jinnah was quiet for a moment. "Earth is new to the Galactic Alliance. We are seen as weak. My grandparents taught me that when you are small, you must be smart. You must know your opponent better than they know themselves." Tahoe thought about this. "I've been working on battle strategies, trying to find ways humans can contribute despite our physical limitations. But this," he gestured at her library, "this changes everything." Jinnah smiled slightly. "Knowledge is strength." "We could combine our skills," said Tahoe excitedly. "My strategies with your combat knowledge." Before Jinnah could answer, her data pad beeped. A message from Commander Park appeared. "All cadets report to the main hall. Important announcement." They hurried to the main hall, which was filling with cadets from all species. Commander Park stood on a platform with Instructor Kirath and other senior officers. "Attention," called Park. "The Academy has decided to hold an interspecies combat tournament. This will be a chance to share techniques and build respect between our different worlds." Excited murmurs filled the room. "Participation is voluntary," continued Park, "but highly recommended." His eyes found Jinnah in the crowd. As they left the hall, Tahoe turned to Jinnah. "You have to enter. This is your chance to show what humans can do." Jinnah shook her head. "I don't fight to show off." "It's not about showing off," Tahoe argued. "It's about changing how they see humans, about respect." Jinnah considered his words. For the first time, she wondered if her knowledge could do more than just protect herself. Maybe it could help all humans find their place among the stars. "I'll think about it," she said finally. Jin-Ah stood in line with other cadets who had entered the tournament. She had decided to join after Commander Park personally asked her to represent Earth humans. "The rules are simple," explained Instructor Kirath to the gathered cadets. "No weapons, no serious injuries. A cadet loses if they yield, leave the circle, or cannot continue. Each round has a 5-minute time limit." Jin-Ah looked at the tournament board. 64 cadets had entered from 12 different species. Her first match would be against a Nuvian named Tlax. Taiho stood beside her. Nuvians are telepathic. They can sense what you're going to do before you do it. Jin-Ah nodded. "I know." The tournament began. In the early matches, the physically stronger species dominated. Morvans crushed their opponents with raw power. Alari won with blinding speed. Drekans used their natural aggression and tough scales. Then it was Jin-Ah's turn. Tlax, the Nuvian, had purple skin and large, all-black eyes. He was taller than Jin-Ah but thin. He bowed slightly as they entered the circle. "I can sense your thoughts, human," he said in a musical voice. "Your movements will be known to me before you make them." Jin-Ah bowed back but said nothing. "Begin," called the referee. Tlax moved first, gracefully stepping toward Jin-Ah. His hand reached for her shoulder, right where she had been planning to dodge. Jin-Ah realized her problem. If Tlax could read her intentions, how could she surprise him? Then she remembered something her grandmother had taught her. True mastery is when the body moves without thought. Jin-Ah cleared her mind. Instead of planning her moves, she let her body react naturally, using the muscle memory from years of training. Tlax frowned. He reached again, but this time Jin-Ah wasn't thinking about dodging left. She simply did it. Her movements became fluid, instinctual rather than planned. The Nuvian's advantage was gone. He couldn't predict what Jin-Ah herself wasn't consciously deciding. Jin-Ah moved closer, her hands finding pressure points on the Nuvian's arms. Tlax winced and stepped back. "How are you doing this?" he asked, confused. Jin-Ah didn't answer. She continued her approach, each move flowing into the next like water. Tlax tried to counter, but without his telepathic edge, he couldn't match Jin-Ah's trained reflexes. After 3 minutes, Jin-Ah had maneuvered Tlax to the edge of the circle. With one precise move, she swept his legs, sending him stumbling backward out of bounds. "Victory to Cadet Song of Earth," announced the referee. The crowd of cadets cheered. The human cadets cheered loudest of all. Jin-Ah won her next 2 matches just as decisively. Against an Alari, she used timing rather than trying to match their speed. Against a Draken, she used the same pressure points she had found during the Academy attack. Word spread quickly about the small human girl who could counter any fighting style. Even instructors came to watch her matches. In the semifinals, Jin-Ah faced Grask, the Morvan she had defeated in training. This time, he was ready for her tactics. "I have studied," he rumbled as they entered the circle. "Your tricks will not work twice." When the match began, Grask protected the pressure points Jin-Ah had used before. He moved more cautiously, keeping his distance. Jin-Ah realized she needed a new approach. She remembered a different earth fighting style. Aikido, which used an opponent's weight against them. When Grask finally charged, Jin-Ah didn't try to find pressure points. Instead, she guided his momentum, redirecting his massive body with small touches. The surprised Morvan found himself stumbling forward, his own weight becoming his enemy. Jin-Ah needed only to guide Grask's powerful moves, letting him tire himself out. When he was exhausted, a simple trip sent him crashing to the floor. "I yield," Grask said between heavy breaths. "You fight with honor, small human." Jin-Ah helped him up. "As do you." The final match would be tomorrow. Jin-Ah against Krell, an undefeated Drakon champion from the senior class. As Jin-Ah left the training hall, Commander Park stopped her. "Impressive, Cadet Song. But Krell is not like other Drakons. He has studied many fighting styles himself. He will not be easy to defeat. Jinnah nodded. I understand, sir. The whole academy will be watching, Park added, including representatives from Galactic Command. No pressure. He almost smiled. That night, Jinnah sat in her room, studying videos of Krell's previous matches. Taiho sat beside her, taking notes. He adapts quickly, said Taiho. He learns from his opponents during the fight. Jinnah nodded. Then I will need to keep changing. No single style will work. Can you beat him? Taiho asked quietly. Jinnah looked at the screen, where the Drakon moved with surprising grace for his size. We'll see, she said simply. The day of the final match arrived. The main arena was packed with cadets, instructors, and visitors from Galactic Command. Jinnah stood in the preparation room, stretching quietly. Taiho entered with a worried look. Jinnah, they're saying Krell hasn't lost a match in 3 years. Jinnah nodded. I know. He's twice your size and knows almost as many fighting styles as you do. I know that too. Jinnah continued her stretches calmly. Taiho sighed. Aren't you worried at all? Jinnah finally looked at him. Worry doesn't help. Preparation does. Before Taiho could respond, a loud alarm sounded throughout the academy. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Emergency. All personnel report to stations. This is not a drill. Repeat. This is not a drill. Jinnah and Taiho rushed out into the hall. Cadets and officers ran in all directions. Commander Park's voice came over the speaker system. Attention all Academy personnel. We have received a distress call from Nova Station. It is under attack by unknown forces. All senior officers are to report to the command center immediately. The tournament was forgotten as the Academy mobilized. Jinnah and Taiho made their way to the main hall, where confused cadets gathered. Commander Park entered with Instructor Kirath and other officers. Their faces were grim. Nova Station is the nearest research outpost to the Academy, Park announced. It was attacked 1 hour ago by ships not matching any known design in our database. The station's defenses are failing. Most of our senior combat teams are deployed elsewhere in the sector. He looked around at the nervous cadets. I need volunteers for a rescue mission. This is extremely dangerous. Only those who feel ready for real combat should step forward. Without hesitation, Jinnah stepped forward. Taiho joined her, along with Grask the Morvan, Tilax the Nuvian, and several others including Krell, the Drakon champion. Park nodded. Report to Hangar Bay 3 in 30 minutes. Suit up for combat. As the cadets dispersed, Kirath approached Jinnah. Cadet Song, are you certain about this? This is not a training exercise or tournament. Real lives are at stake. Jinnah met his glowing eyes. That's why I volunteered, sir. In the hangar bay, Jinnah and the other volunteer cadets boarded a combat shuttle. They wore light battle armor and carried emergency medical supplies. Commander Park joined them, now wearing his own battle gear. Our mission is to evacuate the scientists and any wounded. We are not engaging the enemy unless absolutely necessary. He activated a hologram showing Nova Station, a large wheel-shaped structure floating in space. The attack disabled their main power and communications. The station is running on emergency systems. The attackers may still be present. Park looked at each volunteer cadet. I selected you based on your performance in training and the tournament. You represent the best skills of your species. Work together. Stay alive. The shuttle launched, streaking through space toward Nova Station. Through the viewport, Jinnah could see the damaged station. Parts of it were dark. Other sections showed the glow of fires. What could do this? Whispered Taiho, sitting beside her. Unknown, said Tilax, his telepathic abilities picking up Taiho's question. But I sense great fear from the station. Something terrible has happened there. As they approached, Park received a weak transmission from the station. The image was blurry, but they could make out a human scientist, her face streaked with blood. This is Dr. Min of Nova Station. The attackers are like nothing we've seen. They're not organic. Some kind of combat drones that learn and adapt. They're studying our defenses, our weapons, our fighting styles. They're learning how to defeat us. The transmission cut out as their shuttle docked with the station. Park turned to the cadets, his face serious. Stay together. Watch each other's backs. If these things really adapt to fighting styles, they'll be dangerous opponents. Jinnah felt a chill run through her. An enemy that could learn and adapt to any fighting style. That was a threat she hadn't prepared for. The airlock door opened with a hiss. Beyond it lay darkness and the unknown. "Let's move," ordered Park, "and be ready for anything." The rescue team moved through the dark corridors of Nova Station. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. The air smelled of smoke and burned metal. Jinnah walked near the front with Commander Park. Her eyes scanned every corner, every doorway. Behind them came Taeho, Grask, Tlax, Krell, and 3 other cadets. "Life signs ahead," whispered Tlax, his telepathic abilities reaching out. Frightened humans. They found 5 scientists hiding in a sealed lab. Dr. Min, the woman from the transmission, rushed to meet them. "Thank the stars you're here," she said. Her face was pale with fear. "The others are trapped in the main lab. Those things are everywhere." "What exactly are we facing?" asked Commander Park. "We call them the Void Collective," Dr. Min explained quickly. "They're combat drones controlled by an AI system. They were studying us before they attacked." "Studying you?" Taeho asked. "Our movements, our fighting styles. When security tried to stop them, the drones adapted. They copied our tactics and improved on them." Dr. Min's hands shook. "The more they fought, the better they got." Commander Park's face hardened. "We need to reach the main lab." "How many drones are we talking about?" "At least 20 that we've seen. They look almost human, but made of black metal." Park turned to the cadets. "New plan. We split into 2 teams. Team 1 evacuates these scientists. Team 2 comes with me to the main lab." Jinnah, Taeho, Krell, and Tlax were assigned to Team 2 with Park. As they moved deeper into the station, Jinnah noticed something strange. "The damage pattern is systematic," she whispered to Taeho. "They're not just destroying things randomly." "You're right," he replied. "They're targeting specific systems. Communications, weapons, life support. It's strategic." They reached a large open area, the central hub connecting different parts of the station. As they crossed it, a door on the far side slid open. 3 black figures stepped out. They were the shape of humans but made of dark metal. Their faces had no features except glowing red sensors where eyes should be. "Combat drones," hissed Park. "Stay alert." The drones spotted them. For a moment, they just stood there, their red eyes scanning the group. Then they moved. The first drone attacked Krell, the Drakon champion. It copied his aggressive fighting style perfectly, matching him move for move. Krell was pushed back, surprised by the drone's strength and speed. The second drone went for Tlax. When the Nuvian tried to use his graceful, flowing movements, the drone did the same, only faster. The third drone approached Jinnah. She took a defensive stance from Aikido, ready to redirect its force. But the drone stopped 2 meters away, just watching her. "It's analyzing your stance," said Taeho. "Don't let it see your techniques." Too late. The drone rushed forward, mimicking Jinnah's own movements. When she tried to find pressure points, there were none on its metal body. When she attempted to redirect its force, it adjusted its way to counter her. Jinnah was forced back. For the first time in years, she felt fear in combat. This enemy could learn anything she showed it. Across the room, Krell was thrown against a wall. Tlax barely avoided a crushing blow. "They're learning too fast," shouted Park, firing his stun weapon at a drone. The blast hit but did little damage. Jinnah's mind raced. If the drones could copy and improve any fighting style they saw, how could she defeat them? Then she remembered her grandmother's words. Combat is not just technique, it is also surprise. Jinnah stopped fighting. She took a deep breath and did something unexpected. She started moving in a pattern that wasn't combat at all. It was a traditional Korean dance her grandmother had taught her. The drone paused, its sensors blinking rapidly as it tried to understand these movements that had no combat purpose. Jinnah moved closer to Taiho. They can only copy what they recognize as fighting, she whispered. We need to do the unexpected. Taiho nodded. I have an idea. He called out to the others. Everyone, change your style. Don't fight like yourself. Krell looked confused. What do you mean? Fight like someone else, Jinnah explained. Tlax, move like a Morvan. Krell, be graceful like a Nuvian. Understanding dawned in their eyes. The cadets began to switch their fighting styles, each using techniques foreign to their own species. The drones faltered, their programming struggling to adapt to this chaotic mix of unexpected movements. Jinnah smiled. Sometimes, the best way to fight wasn't to use your strength, but to be unpredictable. The plan worked. By fighting in ways completely unnatural to their species, the cadets confused the combat drones. Grask the Morvan moved with light, quick steps instead of using his strength. Tlax used direct strikes rather than his usual flowing style. Krell mixed techniques from 5 different fighting arts. Jinnah kept changing her approach every few seconds, never showing the same pattern twice. The drones could not predict what she would do next. It's working, shouted Taiho. Keep it up. Together, they pushed the drones back. Jinnah noticed something important. When truly confused, the drones would pause for 2.3 seconds, as if resetting their systems. Target them during the pause. She called to the others. When a drone near her froze momentarily, Jinnah struck its neck joint with all her strength. The metal head twisted unnaturally, and the drone collapsed. One by one, they disabled the 3 drones, but they could hear more moving through the station. We need to reach the main lab quickly, said Commander Park, before more drones find us. They ran through the corridors, following the station map on Park's datapad. Twice more they encountered drones, but each time they confused them with unpredictable fighting styles. Finally, they'd reached the main lab. The door was damaged but still sealed. Park used his command codes to open it. Inside, they found 12 scientists huddled behind equipment. Some were injured. The lab itself was mostly intact, with large screens and complex machines. Commander Park, a tall scientist, rushed forward. I'm Dr. Kang, head researcher. Thank you for coming. We need to evacuate you now, said Park. The station is too damaged to defend. Dr. Kang shook his head. We can't leave yet. We need to stop them at the source. He led them to a large screen showing the station layout. The Void Collective took over our main computer core in Section D. That's where their central AI is controlling all the drones from. Taiho studied the map. If we shut down the core, will it stop all the drones? Yes, but it's heavily guarded, and the AI gets smarter every minute it's connected to our systems. Dr. Kang looked worried. It's studying everything in our database, including all known combat techniques from across the galaxy. Jinnah and Taiho exchanged looks. This was worse than they thought. We need a plan, said Taiho. We can't fight our way through if the AI knows every fighting style. Jinnah thought hard. What if we don't fight? She said finally. Everyone looked at her. What do you mean? Asked Krell. The AI expects us to attack. It's prepared for combat. Jinnah's eyes lit up with an idea. But what if we approach without any fighting intention at all? Taiho caught on quickly. You mean, move in ways that have nothing to do with combat? Jinnah nodded. Dr. Kang, does the AI understand the difference between combat movements and other physical activities? Dr. Kang looked surprised. I don't think so. It was designed to analyze and counter threats. Non-threatening movements might confuse its targeting systems. Then that's our way in, said Jinnah. We move like we're dancing or playing or simply walking, anything but fighting. Commander Park considered this. It might work. But once we reach the core, how do we shut it down? We'll need to defend ourselves eventually. I'll create a virus, said one of the scientists. Something that can disrupt the AI's learning algorithms. But you'll need to upload it directly to the main terminal in the core. Then that's our mission, decided Park. Jinnah, Tahoe, Krell, and Tlax will come with me to the core. The rest of you get the scientists to the shuttle. As the scientists programmed the virus into a small data chip, Jinnah gathered the team. From now on, we move without combat intent, she explained. Think of movements the AI wouldn't recognize as fighting. Like what? Asked Krell, looking skeptical. Jinnah demonstrated, moving her arms in flowing circles. Like this. It's a traditional Earth dance. No aggression, no attack purpose. I feel foolish, grumbled Grask, trying to copy her. Better to feel foolish than to be dead, said Tlax wisely. When they were ready, Park took the data chip with the virus. Let's move. Stay close, stay non-threatening, and stay alive. They slipped out of the lab and headed toward Section D, where the core and the heart of the Void Collective waited. The team moved through the damaged corridors of Section C, heading toward the computer core in Section D. They didn't run or crouch like soldiers. Instead, they walked casually, sometimes with graceful, flowing movements. Jinnah led the way, moving her arms in patterns from traditional Korean dance. Tahoe followed, walking backward occasionally, as if just wandering around. Krell swayed side to side, looking deeply uncomfortable but determined. Tlax and Commander Park completed their strange group, all moving in ways that no combat AI would recognize as threatening. They passed several drones. The machines tracked them with glowing red eyes, but did not attack. Their programming couldn't identify these movements as combat-related. It's working, whispered Tahoe. They reached the entrance to Section D. Through the reinforced glass doors, they could see at least 10 drones patrolling the area. In the center stood a large black column, the main computer core where the Void Collective's AI was housed. The terminal is on the far side, said Park quietly. We need to reach it to upload the virus. Jinnah studied the room. Once we start the upload, the AI will know what we're doing. We'll need to defend the terminal until the virus is complete. Then we dance our way to the terminal, said Krell, and fight our way out. Jinnah nodded. Remember, when we do fight, keep changing styles. Never be predictable. Park held up the data chip with the virus. Ready? Everyone nodded. The doors slid open, and they entered, still moving with non-combat intentions. The drones watched but did not approach. Slowly, they made their way across the room. They were halfway to the terminal when a new drone entered. This one was different, larger, with a sleek black design and red lines glowing across its surface. Its head swiveled toward them. Prime Unit, warned Park. The A's advanced model. The Prime Unit stared at them for 3 long seconds. Then its eyes flashed brightly. Deception, DETCTE, boomed the voice from the core. Combat units engage. All pretense was over. The drones rushed toward them from all directions. Get to the terminal, shouted Jinnah. We'll hold them off. Park sprinted for the terminal while the cadets formed a defensive circle. The drones attacked and the fight began, but this time, the cadets were ready. They switched fighting styles constantly, never using the same move twice. Jinnah flowed between techniques from a dozen Earth martial arts. One moment she used boxing, the next capoeira, then judo, then movements inspired by gymnastics or even swimming. Krell roared as he fought 3 drones at once, constantly changing his approach. Tlax and Tahoe worked together, combining their movements in ways that seemed random but were carefully coordinated. The drones struggled to adapt. Their programming needed patterns to learn from, but there were no patterns to find. Still, There were many drones, and the prime unit was moving toward Park at the terminal. Jinnah broke away from her opponents and intercepted the prime unit. It was faster and stronger than the others, its movements fluid like water. "Analyzing," said the AI's voice. "Human and female. Multiple combat styles, DGTCTE." Jinnah smiled. "You can't analyze what you don't understand." Then she did something completely unexpected. She stopped fighting entirely. Instead, she began to move in ways that had nothing to do with combat. The joyful skipping of a child, the slow stretching of someone waking up, the casual movements of daily life. The prime unit froze, its systems unable to categorize these movements as either threat or non-threat. "UNDEFINET parameters," said the AI, recalculating. That moment of confusion was all Jinnah needed. With lightning speed, she struck the prime unit in its central power core, not with a fighting technique, but with the simple, direct motion of someone hammering a nail. The prime unit collapsed. "Upload complete," shouted Park from the terminal. "The virus is in." The lights on the computer core flickered. The remaining drones stumbled, their movements becoming jerky and uncoordinated. "System Kuorupition, DETCTE," said the AI, its voice slowing down. "Learning algorithms failing. Adaptation impossible." One by one, the drones shut down. The red lights on the core faded to black. In the sudden silence, Jinnah stood among her friends, breathing hard but smiling. "We did it," said Taeho, amazed. Commander Park joined them. "Not just that. According to the terminal, the virus has spread to the entire Void Collective network. All their drones across the sector are shutting down." "How did you beat the prime unit?" asked Krell, looking at Jinnah with new respect. "I showed it something it couldn't understand," she said simply. "Sometimes the strongest approach isn't a fighting style at all. It's being human." As they made their way back to the shuttle with the rescued scientists, news of their victory spread. The small human girl who knew every combat approach had defeated the Void Collective not by fighting, but by going beyond fighting altogether. 3 days later, back at the academy, Jinnah was called to Commander Park's office. To her surprise, representatives from Galactic Command were waiting. "Cadet Song," said a tall, distinguished alien, "your actions have saved countless lives and shown the value of human adaptability. The Galactic Alliance would like to offer you a special position, teaching your approach to combat and non-combat to our elite forces." Jinnah bowed respectfully. "I would be honored, but I can't take all the credit. This victory belonged to everyone, humans and aliens working together." As she left the office, Taeho was waiting outside. "So what did they say?" he asked. Jinnah smiled. "They said that sometimes the weakest can be the strongest when they understand that true strength comes from here." She touched her head. "And here." She placed her hand over her heart. Together, they walked toward their next class, 2 humans among the stars, proving that what made them different made them strong.